Hello, good morning, good afternoon, beautiful soul, and welcome to another episode of the Sacred Roots podcast. I wanted to record this episode for two different reasons. Today, we're going to talk about the awakening journey. And I think it's really important to talk about it because when you have a spiritual awakening, you don't always realize that you are embarking on a journey. And that as you walk from one stage to another, and you might not be aware that you have walked through those stages yet, you are going to be seeking even more alignment, even more self expression, even more power. And so, being able to understand the journey, what this journey is going to put you through, and where you are at, gives you a roadmap, gives you clarity on maybe some of the challenges that you are facing, why you are facing them, and what your next steps are. And the other reason why I wanted to record this episode is that I often have conversations with women and they say to me, I've been doing this work for so long. When am I going to get there? Or no, I cannot work with you because otherwise it would mean that all the work I've done in the past would be thrown out of the window. And behind all these conversations is really this idea that there's a destination to reach, a place where you're going to feel happy, fulfilled, abundant, aligned, loving yourself, loving your life, loving what you do. And while that is true, it's also not true, in the sense that the spiritual journey is not a destination. It's not a place to get to. It's a journey. And so this means it's not about being hard on yourself and being like frustrated because you don't feel there yet, because you have your whole life actually to quote unquote get there. And then once you are there, you actually realize, oh, this was a journey and I'm not there yet. I know, I just like completely contradicted myself because it's like this place exists, but once you are there, you actually realize this is where the journey really begins. Once you are in that place of alignment, of joy, of service, of abundance, you realize this is when you really start to expressing your soul. This is when you really start to serve with your gifts, to be supported by the divine, to notice the synchronicities. This is when you step the most into the unknown, because you realize this is where the magic happens. The unknown is where the magic happens. The unknown is where I co-create with the divine. The unknown is where I allow the greater plan to unfold for me. And so that place there that your ego wants you to get because it thinks that you're going to be happy and aligned and fulfilled there, once you are, quote unquote, there, you realize you're stepping into a whole other journey of expressing the divine being that you are on this planet. So let's first talk about those 5 stages that you go through before fully and completely being there and realizing, oh, the journey is really beginning now. And before we dive into them, I want to share with you that I have actually brought this episode into a quiz as well. So you can take the quiz in the show notes of this episode so that you can identify which stage you're at. And when you take the quiz, you also receive one activation with different journaling prompts, powerful questions that are going to help you really move to the next steps, and a meditation activation that is going to help you as well go to the next step, and also an offer of one of my services that could help you. So let's dive into the first stage. The first stage is the stage of the follower. It's that stage where you're doing all the things that society told you to do in order to find happiness, in order to find success, in order to make money. And so you mostly work for money. And that might sound a little harsh to say because you do like your job, you do like your colleagues, you do like the things that you do. But if you're really honest with yourself, it's not the most fulfilling. And on Friday at the end of the week, you're drained. It's taken a lot of energy from you. And you're happy that it's Friday, that you can go out with your friends, that you have the weekend to relax, to have fun. And sometimes you're even looking forward to Friday evening, which shows that you're not truly fulfilled in your work and that truly your deepest motivation to do that work is to make money or to learn or to climb the corporate ladder or to evolve into that job. And so there might be a point where you ask yourself, should I change job? Should I launch my own business? Is this going to be it? Is it going to get better at some point? And you kind of feel a little bit stuck, but you don't really know in which direction to go. So if this is you, it means that you are a follower. And I would highly recommend you to start learning more about who you are. Start learning more about your gifts because you have gifts, you have talents, and they are here to serve. And believe me or not, when you do, when you serve with your gifts, that actually brings you a lot of fulfillment, a lot of joy, and a lot of money. And so don't work for the money, work for the pleasure, and then the money will follow. I know this is not what society sold you, but this is actually how it works. So if this is not resonating with you, maybe you've already been through that and you're like, yeah, that was me a few years ago. But I started asking myself questions. And then you are at the stage number 2, which is the stage of the explorer. So the explorer is when you've already built a certain level of success for yourself, but you're like, is this it? Is this going to be my life? The money I'm making, the people I'm spending time with, there's a repetition in my years. I actually don't always remember the difference between last year and the year than before. They all look the same. Or maybe you've had a kid, or maybe you've went to a different place for your holidays, but it's very similar from one year to another. And you start wondering, is this it? Who am I? What is my purpose? Why are we here? You start asking yourself those deeper questions about life. And so that might lead you to reading self-help books or spiritual books, going on a retreat, maybe going to women's circles, and really seeking answers to those deeper questions. If you are there, this is really exciting because if you start to integrate those answers into your life and changing your life accordingly, very soon, if you haven't yet, you are going to realize that you actually have an inner GPS inside of you. You have intuition, you have wisdom, and you receive support from the invisible. And once you start trusting your intuition and make decisions from that place of knowing, that place of trusting, that place of loving yourself, things are going to start shifting in your external reality. And things are going to get more and more exciting. So once you start to find those answers and step into the more exciting way that life can be, you step into the third phase, which is the phase of the creator. Because the creator realizes that it has creative power. And if you're there, you've probably already noticed that your life was a reflection of your choices, your emotions, your beliefs, your thoughts. And because you're very conscious of that, you are intentionally working on them in order to influence your external reality. This is why this stage is called the stage of the creator, because you create your life. By working on your beliefs, by healing your wounds, by choosing to love yourself more. And when you are at that level, you usually have already had conflicts with people that you really loved, people from your family, maybe some friends that weren't really following you on this alignment journey, on finding answer to the deeper questions of life. And so you've had to let go of certain people in your life in order to create the life that was truly in alignment with who you are. And by letting go of certain people, the exciting thing is that you have called in certain people in your life that are much more aligned for you. And so the creator is really when you start manifesting more, trusting your intuition, and living more and more in alignment and seeking more of that alignment. And so, as a creator who is on a spiritual journey and consciously creating your life, you've probably learned recently also about the divine feminine. And that doing everything the masculine way, the way society sold you, isn't actually working for you. And so, in that search of alignment and love and purpose and abundance, you've discovered the divine feminine, which is all very exciting because the divine feminine is going to support you in creating even more alignment, intuition, activating your gifts, being more magnetic, being more grounded, and all of that. If you haven't yet, I invite you to read my book, The Path of Femininity, The 6 Gifts of Your Sovereignty, because in that book, I explain what the divine feminine is, what it means for your life, what it means for the collective, and how you can activate all those gifts of the feminine. And at that level of the creator, you probably are dabbling into certain spiritual practices, into learning more about feminine mysteries, the mysteries of life, ancient wisdom, the Celtic Wheel of the Year. And so the mystery school could be something that could be really interesting for you. There are more and more mystery schools opening now. And that's because we are experiencing a huge spiritual awakening as a collective. And so diving into the mysteries would be very nourishing for your soul, for your mind, and for your body as well, because everything's connected. And when you nourish your body, mind, and soul, that's when you connect even more with your higher self and who you came here to be. So dive into the mysteries. If you don't know where to find those mysteries, because you're not going to find them on Google, and don't trust what you find on Google, please. Trust your intuition more. There are certain good things, but as always, use your own discernment. Don't believe, don't disbelieve. But reach out to certain people who have mystery schools, who are hosting retreats where they teach about the mysteries, because that could be very, very activating of your own power. And that is going to lead you to the next stage, which is the stage of the initiate. The 4th stage of the awakening journey is really the stage of the initiate. And it's called the initiate because you've been initiated to the mysteries. You are very aware that you are a spiritual being having a human experience. You probably have a regular spiritual practice, whether it's meditation, chanting, yoga. Maybe you even bless your food because you are aware of the interconnectedness of all things and that you're just one part of the cycle. And your life is now really connected to your soul and who you came here to be. And your spiritual life is one of your priorities. Of course, your business is important, your family life is important, but your own connection to self and connection to your soul has now a big place in your life because you truly understand who you are. And you are now seeking even more connection with the divine, even more expression of who you are and the infinite being that you are, because that's where it gets to be fun. Once you fully embody your soul, you realize that your potential is limitless because you are a limitless being. And at the level of the initiate, this is when you start to be, quote unquote, there. Have the alignment, have the amazing soul sisters, hopefully have a partner that you can share all of that with, have a business that really nourishes you. The money is starting to follow, and it's really exciting. And that stage is also an invitation to go even deeper into your spiritual expression and uncovering of who you truly are, because there's always more. And so if this is you, but you haven't explored the mysteries yet, then a mystery school would definitely be something that you would love. And I'm going to put the link of our own mystery school, the Sacred Roots Mystery School, in the show notes of this episode if you want to explore more about this potent 9 months initiation that we are offering, because it's a true death rebirth journey. And in the first cohort that we did last year, we had most women who were already at that level of the initiate and who came into the mystery school and had true death rebirth experiences and new career paths opening for them that they had not seen coming, because there's so many layers into the mysteries. There's so many layers in expressing who you came here to be. It's a constant unfolding and it never stops, which is why I was saying there's no there to get to. But the there you might want to get to, or what your soul is pushing you towards, and your ego is also pushing you towards, because your ego always wants to be better and to improve and to learn, is that state number 5, which is the stage of the enlightened. When you are at the stage of the enlightened, you are definitely an old soul, because you have been hoping and doing everything that you can, consciously or unconsciously probably, to get there for several lifetimes. Because this life that you're living is just a little teeny tiny drop, like little speck of dust on the whole journey that you've been walking since your soul first incarnated on Earth or on other planets. Maybe we should do a whole podcast on reincarnation and the purpose of life and these cycles, because it's very hard for us to grasp because we have not been taught. Once you truly understand that, it makes so much more sense. Everything makes so much more sense. And so the true purpose of your soul is to reach that state of moksha, that state of unification with the divine, that stage of enlightenment, that experience where you feel one with everything, where you feel the divine in you and around you. And you only move and choose things according to your intuition and if your guides or source told you to. The rational mind, you've mastered it. The ego, you've mastered it. Does that mean that you don't have low emotions? No, of course you do. Does that mean that your ego doesn't get in the way? No, of course it does, because it's meant to. And there's always more to explore. But you are able to come back to a place of peace, to a place of knowingness, to a place of being fully centered, because you have reached that level of enlightenment. You know that you are, and that is more than enough. And it is such a playful and powerful and insightful place to live from, because everything is just better. You have completely released control when you're there. You surrender. And that's where you realize, oh, the journey is really beginning now. Because now my soul is taking the lead. Now my soul has the lead. And my ego, my mind are not in control anymore. So now it gets to be really fun. So this is why I was sharing at the beginning. It's really at the enlightened level that everything begins. So if you're wondering where you are on that path, you might already feel it with the explanations that I have given, but you can take the quiz that is in the show notes of this episode, and you're going to receive 2 activations for each stage, level of consciousness, level of awakening. I hope this episode inspired you in the middle of your holidays. I hope you take the quiz, because these activations are really going to help you. Don't underestimate the power of the journaling questions and the meditation that I have shared with you, because they were designed for you, for this quiz, to help you, to empower you, and to guide you towards that level of the initiate or the enlightened one. because this is really where it gets to be fun, where it gets to be aligned, where you are so magnetic that you attract the right people, the right situations, also the right obstacles, so that you can transcend even more of who you are and serve even more powerfully. And I mean, I am not constantly at the level of the enlightened. I balance between stage 4 and 5. But when I tap into that energy of the fifth stage, there's just this energy of bliss that runs through me, that guides me, this knowingness that everything is fine and everything is unfolding for my highest good. And yes, I still have challenges, but I embrace them with so much more ease because thanks to being enlightened, I have a flashlight in the dark. I know why this is happening. I have my tools that can help me get out of the dark, that can help me navigate the darkness, that can help me find my way back to myself. And honestly, I just wish that to every single person that is listening to this podcast, because it changes everything. Life is too hard otherwise. And being able to come back to myself, to know how to master my ego, welcome my emotions, rewire my beliefs, connect with the divine, receive guidance, it just makes everything so much easier and so much more powerful and beautiful and blissful. I think you got the message, my darlings. So take the quiz in the show notes of this episode, receive the activation that you can reach this place of oneness and bliss as well, and purpose and abundance. And I love you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me in your private space, for taking those 20 minutes to listen to me and the wisdom that I felt called to share with you today. May you be blessed. May everything that you desire unfold for you. And I will see you next week in the next episode. Bye bye.